I just love the melodies. I don't know where this is going to go, but I really like these vocal lines.
I wrote it hoping Diana would sing it, and if that didn't happen, then there wouldn't be a guest. No. It's basically a really light-hearted, family-friendly story of a boy who has a terrible childhood and dies. And he meets afterwards this angel who has this kind of magical heavenly otherworld where she cares for children who've had lives like that. Some other things happen and it's a sad bit. And then he sees all his new otherworldly friends in the angel again, and they all live happily ever after. Like I said, it's a light-hearted, family-friendly story.
Light-hearted, yes.
Yeah.
Child dies.
I know, honestly. And because I'm so used to this now, because I've been working on this for however long, and people say, oh, what's it about? And I start explaining, and their faces just drop. Like, that's a bit dark. Like, no, it's lovely at the end. Just bear with it, you know.
What kind of style of music is this as well, would you say?
So, Bo and Holly and I appear to have invented our own brand of symphonic rock, symphonic pop rock, specifically. I don't know if it's a thing that exists, but it seems to be working so far for us. I'm more inspired by like really classical, like symphonic metal bands and so on, but we've kind of grown into this particular sound over this project, so yeah.
I'm curious, what made you say yes to this project?
Well, I like the songs. It's as easy as that. I don't do a lot of guest appearances. You know, I just have to be convinced. And Archie sent me I think 2 songs first, and later on I joined for a third one. I just love the melodies. And I was like, hey, I don't know where this is going to go, but I really like these vocal lines, and I can totally imagine myself singing it, because it doesn't happen very often that something is just the right key or almost the right key. Normally, composers don't have any idea what singers should be in, which key they should be in. And here it was it just fitted. So I guess it had to be.
It helps in a sense. I'd already been listening to some of your music and your voice, and I had to try and sing. And I had to try and sing these lines first. So I was there going like, "You're safe now." So I thought, okay, if I can, Diana can. I hope. So it's pretty much where that came from.
I tried.
Yeah.
It sounds fantastic. I mean, I've been sat here listening to it as well, and it's just, yeah, super, super cool. Amazing.
Cool.
If I'm right, I think you describe yourself as like an all-round soprano.
Well, my voice, Fach, as they say in German, is a dramatic soprano. But with all-round, I mean that I don't stick to singing classical only. I also like mixing rock techniques or pop, anything. And I also do voiceover, stuff like that. So in that sense, I think of myself as an all-round soprano, not limited to, the tiny classical box.
Absolutely. Well, I was going to ask you, actually, is there a comparison that you make between doing like straight operatic performances versus opera, but in the context of metal? Like, do you prefer one over the other, for example?
No, I love both worlds, but I also could not be only in one of the 2 worlds. You know, there's a part of me which is purely classic, and there's also this big part of me that really needs to be in the metal, symphonic metal world. I could never be just in one of them. I wouldn't be complete.
I don't know if you know this, but Archie's actually trained in musical theatre. How did you get to going from musical theatre to metal?
I don't know, I think initially the thing that I loved so much about musical theatre was the kind of vocal techniques. Like, I love a dramatic soprano. I like a big voice, and I love a nice belty tenor. So that's kind of where I developed, but I'd always been aware of more, if I say like alternative types of music. I'd be really fascinated by the kind of emotive, dramatic nature of that as well. And I remember, like it was yesterday, the first time I had some kind of connection to that, which was pretty much the first time I discovered like music as a particular thing in itself. I was on holiday in Portugal. I must have been about 9, and I was with my auntie and uncle. And my uncle had gone to a bar, and my auntie and my brothers and me had gone somewhere else, I can't remember, and I was sent into the bar to go and fetch him, and they had like this janky little TV up in the corner, and they were playing music videos, and just as I came in, Evanescence Bring Me to Life video was on, like that one that got really famous and brought that kind of music to lots of people who never otherwise would have heard it because it was in Top of the Pops and everything. And I remember so clearly, I went in and it's up there in the corner on the other side of the room, and from the first note there was just nothing else in the world for me at all, and I was transfixed, and I just thought, this is it. Like, I never want to not feel like this. I guess you all have some kind of similar relationship with listening to music, being that you're musicians, but it was so clearly like something switching on for me that never went off since.
When did you get into singing, Dianne?
That's a great noise. I love that.
We singers know the bubble, right?
Yeah, he gets fed up of it. That and the puffy cheeks.
Yes. When did I get into singing? To be honest, I can't remember when, because for my 4th birthday, my parents gave me my first singing lessons.
Amazing.
Yeah, because they had noticed that I had a really honest response to music. And when I was a tiny baby or toddler, I was humming along. I don't think babies can hum. But anyway, I was very little, and they never could do any kind of musical education or play a musical instrument. It just, there wasn't time. So when I showed interest, they said, the first chance we have, we are going to put her somewhere where she can sing. And this, at first it was singing lessons at the church choir, and later on at the music school, and then I joined the conservatory, bachelor, master. So it's a full story. I can't remember a moment that I have not been singing.
I was a church choir boy as well. Well, not that you were a church choir boy, but you know.
But I did have the same moment listening to music, obviously to Nightwish. But before that, the same thing I had when I first heard Meatloaf.
I was raised on a lot of Meatloaf and stuff. My mum loved all that kind of thing, so that was always on as well. Yeah.
I had the chance actually to cover the I Would Do Anything for Love.
I know, I've heard it.
Yeah. But this was, for me, that really was a dream come true.
Singing Meatloaf. I'd do anything for love, but I'd not do that.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Terrible joke. Archie, how did you actually come across Dianne?
There's a guy who does his really cool pictures, like drawings, art of lots of symphonic metal singers called Pedro Matos, something like that. And I was following his page on Instagram, and he posted one that I didn't recognise. I said, who's this? And he said, it's Marcella Bovio. And I thought, she looks cool, I'll look into her. So I went on YouTube and found it was her singing in Songs of the Ocean, Iron's Electric Castle Live and Other Stories, Arion. And of course, she came out with You. I can sniff a dramatic soprano a mile off. Who's she? I want to know more about her as well. And the first 5 comments told me that you were Lisetta Vanderberg, which is obviously not correct. Eventually one popped up and said it was you, so I looked you up, and then there's a video of you performing at Masters of Rock, and I thought, this is great, I like this. I can really get behind this.
Thank you for sharing that. Through a picture and then through...
Yeah, it was this really, like, involved set of things. And obviously, like, Marcella's great anyway, so that was a whole extra development of kind of exploring this other artist as well. But, yeah, so that's how that happened.
On this album, so Dianne plays the angel. Did you ever have anyone else in mind?
Not a bit. No. I wrote it hoping Dianne would sing it, and if that didn't happen, then there wouldn't be a guest. Not a fanboy, but yeah, it was Dianne or bust.
I'm really honoured. Thank you so much. Yeah. But that explains why the vocal lines fit me so well.
Yeah. I had to imagine it like in your voice, and it was the same with Damian's character, the father, because I basically thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could write a song for the father and if I could see if Damian would sing it? And then a couple of weeks later, I thought, oh, wouldn't it be nice? Imagine writing a song and then for the angel and getting Diana to sing it. And I had this for a couple more weeks and I thought, why didn't you fucking ask her then? So, yeah. I had these really clear ideas of the people that I would hope to get involved. And I'm fortunate in that they both worked out because I never actually put any energy into considering what would happen if it didn't work out.
Sounds like a master plan. I just want it this way.
Yeah.
Diana, you're in a band called Exlibris, right?
I am, yes.
How did you all get started?
Oh my gosh, such hard questions. Well, we got started in 2004 with a whole bunch of different members. I think we started off as a group of friends, mostly. It was me and the drummer who started. And funnily enough, the drummer back then, Joost van der Pas, is now our videographer. Is that how you put it?
Yeah.
He my speech is, I had a busy day, so I'm Anyway, I really love that he's reconnecting with us and with the band, but now from behind the camera instead of behind the drum kit. But he and me are still really good friends, and we both started the band together at the music school, actually, and we were looking for other musicians. But no one at the music school was willing to go the length. How do I say this? Make it very sturdy, make it bold, and everyone was kind of
flaky.
Yeah.
There is the fear that if you commit too much to one thing, you miss out on this other thing. Yeah.
Precisely. No one was devoted enough. And also they did not really get the style that we were looking for. But then we searched the web and we found guitar player and he knew other people and and everything came together. And I think not long after that, we recorded Drawn, which was our first EP, which has now been burned. We have asked for every copy back.
Oh, really?
No.
I was going to say.
So if someone owns one, I want it back because it needs to be burned.
Why'd you say that?
Forget about that. The first thing we ever released was Amygdala, which is actually our first full-length album. It's still very much in the beginning. I think Medea is a much better showcase of what we can do. And funnily enough, it also has a song with me and Damian Wilson on it.
Is that so? I've not listened to any of Medea yet.
Leaving interview now.
I'm stuck on Anne. It's not my fault. Oh, it's amazing.
Because I really thought you were up to speed on that. Because when Damian when Damian wrote me, he said, "Hey, I know this guy Archie, and he's asking us to sing together again." So I was like, "Okay, done that before." Yeah,
but no, the reason I knew you'd sung together before was it was that same performance at Arion, because he's doing the chorus. How the hell does it go? You know the one. Take life, we travelled space, but we can't the songs of the ocean. That one. And you and Marcelo were doing the pre-chorus, because it was in the same video. I thought, that guy's got a great voice.
And which is our latest release. And it's about 3 different women from history who are all called Anne. We have Anne Boleyn, it's your history. And then there's Anastasia Romanova from Russian history. And of course, Dutchy land, the Netherlands. I say this too often to remember what my home country is actually called. The Netherlands, of course, the story of Anne Frank.
I've listened to quite a bit of Anne. I love the Anne Boleyn section in particular because we talked about this before, actually, in The Miscarriage. That last vocal bit is mind-blowing. How did you find taking on such a weighty subject as the story of Anne Frank? Because that's a big thing to take on musically or historically or anything.
Of course, Anne Boleyn and also Anastasia Romanova these are also big stories, but they're much safer because they're not nearly as recent as Anne Frank. We actually were about to interview the former neighbor, little girl back then of Anne Frank, but sadly she died. Otherwise, we would have had the chance to speak to her. it was really scary to dive into that story. And, you know, everyone knows her as the face of the Holocaust. And that's exactly what we did not wanted to do. We wanted to portray her in the way she comes across through her diary. So much more the Anne Frank that lived instead of the Anne Frank that died. Everyone knows that part. At the end, we have the big repeating chorus, and that's the train taking off, and everyone knows how the story goes.
Yeah. Wow.
I think you're right, especially in a story like that, which becomes so culturally widespread. It can be easy to forget that there was a whole person that it was around, and no, I think that comes across great. I remember for the video for the diary when I listened to it for the first time, and I thought, oh, this is literally the words addressed to the diary. Like, really,
yeah. I love that video. I don't know if people get it. I actually based it on a movie with Nicole Kidman, and of course the title doesn't come to mind now. Everything is mapped out on the ground, like the FBI does when they find a body. You know, there's this white line saying this is where the body lay. Everything's mapped out, a complete city. There is some furniture, but everything is see-through. So it's a movie, but it's also like theater. You see everyone acting constantly. Yeah. I really can't stand that. I cannot grab the title. It's somewhere in my head.
It will come to you the second we finish this call.
You could say, oh, it's that film, and then just kind of mime, and we'll like dub over afterwards, like the name.
Well, the director is Lars von Trier, so that's something that I remembered. When Archie is speaking, I will look it up on my phone. That's nowhere near here.
That's cool.
That movie was such a big inspiration, and I really liked that we recorded the video clip in the big recording room of Sandlin Recording Facilities, but then only use props to emphasize the story. One big room, and it's nowhere near any location in Amsterdam. But I had a writing desk there. There's this, we say balustrade.
Of the staircase?
No, gosh, my head is like... I don't know. If you're in front of a river, the iron fence, that there's a pretty name for it, must be. Anyway, we recreated that. Actually, I did with my father. So if you look at it again, you know that's a nice little trivia. So we have that, and we created a shop, and we actually printed the same posters that they used to hang up, the Forbidden for Jews. I was a bit sketchy about that, but we did it anyway because, well, it's history, and I wouldn't want to amend it anyway.
Yeah. That's really, really interesting.
I like how it turned out.
I like that video. That was the first, because I'm always about 4 years, 5 years, 6 years behind what any band I like is actually doing, and I don't know why, because I think I'm paying attention. But it took me about 2 years to listen to Endless Form's Most Beautiful after it came out, for example, despite the fact I saw it announced like the week it came out, and I thought, yay, this is amazing, new Nightwish album. And then I just somehow didn't anyway. So I eventually caught up that Exlibris had a new massive project out, and eventually got round to watching that video first. So yeah.
With our kind of music, especially prog music, it really doesn't matter when you discover the album, as long as you discover the album. You know, it's not bound to a certain, like the 90s. Gosh, no one listens to that music anymore, except for parties that in which you want to go back to your youth. But it's not like that.
So Tommy and the Angels is quite a big album. Archie, what's your approach?
When it started, it was like a small little 5-song project that I was going to make in my bedroom. And I think if it had started as a big thing, I wouldn't have done it. I would have been terrified. But it just kind of grew and grew exponentially. I got my friend Bo and their wife Holly involved. They're incredible composers, orchestrators. Bo is my oldest, dearest friend. And so I sent off these ideas for songs, and they somehow turned into like fully orchestrated like MIDI demos. And then I thought of approaching you and Damian, and it got bigger still. So then eventually these demos got sent off to Adrian Benegas, I probably say his name wrong, in Paraguay, to retrack everything and use much better kind of software than I have to then send these proper like Pro Tools projects back to me, for me to then send to Joost van den Broek to mix and have mastered and everything. There's also another step in the middle, a guy called Sam French, God love him, he had to turn everything from Logic into Pro Tools because I don't understand any of these things and I had to ask someone else to do it for me. So yeah, I'm completely incompetent technologically. So it's just been about trying to get as many different people to help me with all the bits I can't do as possible, and that's basically been what's driven this forward the whole time.
You are persistent then.
To a point, but also now there's so many other people who've also put time and effort and energy into this, and other people like you, like Damian, like Joost, who will mix it when my vocals are finally recorded. But there's now too many people that I could possibly let down anyway, so I have to finish the damn thing. Where we're at the moment, it's kind of just starting to be mixed and everything. So as a result, I have heard these songs that I wrote so much, and I was recording them, and I had one day I was recording for 9 hours.
9 hours?
Yeah. And I said to the guy, do you know what, I'm big picture, I love this stuff, I'm really happy with it, but right now I wish this music didn't exist. I'm so sick of hearing it just for today. Like, I need to not think about these songs anymore.
Believe me, this is the story with every album in the making. By the time it's finished, you're like, ugh, and now we gotta go rehearse it for a live situation. I don't want to.
Yeah.
But then actually the cool thing is that during rehearsals, everything turns around. And then after a few shows, you're like, oh, can I re-record it? Because I'm singing it much better now.
I've gone back and redone at least one song from scratch, because I've basically recorded in the order that they happen in the album. And so by the time I got to the 6th or 7th song, I thought I'm so much more warmed up into this and the vibe vocally that I'm going for in this album. Now I hear the first song back again, it will not do. So I had to go back and start the whole thing again and try and catch up to where I got to in the rest of it. Because I feel like once it's out, it's out. And I don't want to spend the rest of my life listening to something when I think I could have done that a lot better. So I would always think that anyway.
It's a singer's curse, you know, it's never good enough. As long as the audience likes it.
One hopes.
That's what counts, you know. You can hate it for a week, and then when the reactions come in and people love it, that was count.
So we hope for that.
We're thrilled that you love it so far, and we're really excited for you to hear the final thing. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I'm curious because I haven't heard any update yet.
Oh, have you only heard the 3 ones that I sent you to record on?
Yeah.
Oh shit, okay. Yeah, that's my bad.
We've been talking a lot about heavy metal. Now let's talk about precious metal.
Oh, I see what you do there.
You make jewelry, don't you?
I do. I'm actually, obviously, wearing stuff that
I recognise them.
Yeah. These are bass guitar string earrings that I made myself. These exact type I don't sell because they're from golden bass guitar strings, and
nice.
They're pretty rare. But of course I do make them in silver as well. And I've got bracelets, but maybe Archie should say something about my jewelry because, hey, I make them, so I'm selling them so I can promote them. But Archie is also a customer. I had been creating jewelry before I started using musical materials. And I was looking for a connection between music and creating jewelry because I started out simply because back then statement pieces just weren't around. Now it's fashion, then not at all. So I wanted to wear big necklaces on the stage. So I decided, well, if I can't buy them, I'll go and make them. I had loads of friends who were really enthusiastic about it. And then I thought, hey, maybe I can make more people happy and get rid of the 200 pairs of earrings that I've now created for myself. And then someday in the backstage or during a rehearsal, I saw a guitar player from Exlibris throwing out his strings, and I just had this light bulb moment, like, that's it. I really need to do something with that. And I really like that I'm giving this used material second chance. So much strings are thrown into the bin on a daily basis, while they have memories and they can really mean something to people. I've made engagement bracelets, rings even. People really ask me, do you have strings from them and them? Because I've met my girlfriend during one of their concerts, so I wanted to give her something for Valentine's from that band. And it's amazing because the strings don't get thrown out. There's a little bit waste that I saved, and I'm making someone happy with the creation that I'm making out of that. It's upcycling to the max. Yeah. And bands really like donating to me, because whether they're famous or yet to become famous, I always tag them, and it's a bit of promotion for them as well. I know bass guitar players who change the lowest one every 2 songs during recording, just because it doesn't have the spark anymore.
That's true.
That's dedicated.
That's dedicated.
Yeah. Hey, I'm happy with that. I'm just there with my little bucket.
I'm a guitarist. I would definitely wear that. That would be fantastic.
Yeah. Well, then you have to send me your strings as well. I can make something for you out of them.
That would be really, really cool. I would definitely
you're like looking.
Got some around here. Throw them through the screen.
Yeah.
Take all of them. Take them all.
Can you clear up also once and for all the pronunciation of what your surname is? Because I do my best.
I do the full thing, because it's not Diane. If you want to pronounce it in Dutch, it's Dianne.
Dianne. Yeah, see, I thought so, but I had a panic yesterday. I thought, shit, what if she's Diane? And I've been telling everyone wrong for ages.
No, because on tour, I've always been called Diane or A, but I listened to the first one, not the second. and then it gets difficult because it's Van Giersbergen.
Van Giersbergen.
That's pretty good.
I just wanted to know if you had any advice. So I believe in these words, you've said to Archie in the past that this isn't your first rodeo. So I wondered what you would say to other musicians that are hoping to put out a record now, especially just after we've had the pandemic and all that kind of thing.
Everyone's reinventing themselves. I think at the core of it, it's most important that you like the music that you put out. If you don't believe in the music you're writing, you're performing, then nobody will buy it. Maybe for a few songs, but then they'll get bored. Why? Because you are bored. I think that's the best advice that I can give you. The step afterwards, keep going. There will be bad days. There will be more bad days than good days, but there will be good days. And those will come as long as you keep going. You have to be persistent and believe, even if others don't. It's your dream. And through your dream, you can reach people. And then the messages will come of people saying how much your music means to them, how much your statements mean to them, your lyrics. And somehow, even though you won't be aware of all those moments, you will have enriched somebody's day, week, month, year, life. I don't know. You mean something to someone if you keep going, living your dream and keeping it pure and close to your heart.
And there we have it.
Yeah. Mic drop. That's really lovely. And also, I guess, calling back to the whole Exlibris thing, you've got to be with the right people that believe in what you're doing. You've all got to kind of share that same destination, that goal, the drive sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's very important to have a good team around you. And also there, I can speak from experience, if the team doesn't function anymore, the band doesn't function anymore. It's as simple as that. So choose your friends, also your colleagues. Choose them wisely, and build a connection together.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much. It's been...
You're welcome.
We'll stop recording and then we'll just kind of have like a little chill. But but thank you so much for giving us your time, and also for everything you've done for Archie and for Tommy and the Angels. It's elevated the album, if anything. So thank you.
To a terrifying scale.
Also, like I just said, it has to be good from the start. You know, it has to be pure from the heart, and the rhymes. Oh, it's so cheesy. But if it wasn't good and if it wasn't pure, then it wouldn't have caught me somehow. So,
well, I'll take that. Thank you.
Yeah, it's teamwork. You know, this is the connection we're talking about.
Amazing! Oh wow! I'll stop the recording. Thank you so much.
Adrift at sea.